Hi and welcome to Python tutorial of data validation using entering widget. See, in here I've entered characters in there, but the whole idea is for just this widget to be able to accept just numbers. So if I click on validate, you see that it's telling me invalidated numbers only, bro. Okay, if I click on OK, there, all gone. But supposing we enter numbers in there, well done. There, you can also reset and give that a try again. There, invalid data. Okay, let's enter correct data in there. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is to take you guys straight into Python development environment. I will put one of these together. Okay, let's exit and start a new project entirely. Go to File, New. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to have to import the following. Import, that will be Tkinter, and I'm going to be importing all of the content on the library there. So the next thing is to import the following for my message box. That's import Tkinter.message message box. There we go. Now one other thing now is, let me create a class, and this class I'm just going to call it number only. Yeah, that's it, that's fine. And let's enter column there. Now I'm going to define as follows. As initialize the following. So I'm going to say self comma root there. This tutorial is actually at a request of one of my viewers out there who would like to know how to validate a widget so that you can only enter numbers, and that is why I decided to have a look at it, and I feel I should share it with you guys. So I'm just going to enter in there enter or entry widget. So what I'm doing now is actually creating that's going to be just like the title on the frame itself. There we go. So the other thing is I'm going to say self.root. Let's copy that and just paste it there. Self.root.geometry. So in here I will then specify the size of my frame. So I'm going to make that 476, let's say by 350. I don't want it to be too big, and I want it to be sort of like dead center, so 300 by 200 plus 200. That we actually position it centered and close that. And what about background? So this time around I'm going to say self dot, there's a T missing here, right? Self dot configure, okay, configure, and I'm going to just call that BG, stands for background color. But this time around, instead of me using the name of the color, I'm going to use the following. Let's say D9. So that's the color I intend to use. And now I need frame. So I'm going to declare my frame. So it's going to be main frame, and this main frame is going to be equals to widget frame. There we go. And widget frame is going to be inside root, comma, let's say border equals 10. Right. So main frame, let's sort of like paste that in a grid dot grid, and there we go. I will need some other frames inside this very frame, so I might as well copy that and just speed it all up. Okay, that's the frame that will be inside the main frame, and I've also created a label for my title. So let me run this up, then I will save it and just show you guys how it's going to look like. Let's save. I'm just going to call it numbers only. I'll make that 5. That's good enough for me, and let's just say save, and let's run it and you guys see what I'm talking about. And there we go. Right, okay, let's close that. Now the next thing I want to do now is to add some widget on board. Okay, to create this widget, I'm going to have to create some more frames, so I'm just going to copy that and let's paste that right underneath, and maybe one more. These 2 frames, this one I'm going to call this one, just call it member frame, something like that, or member's name, whatever. Let's give it a name, underscore frame, and that, let's just copy that and paste it here. And the other one, this very one, I'm going to call that, let's say, for the receipt or whatever, or for button, underscore button frame. Okay, that's going to be for the buttons that I intend to use. Right, one of these, this one will be for the bottom. I'm just gonna enter bottom here, and the other one here, top, that is fine. Okay, let's just enhance the appearance, and they're all going to be resident right inside the main as well. Okay, this is how the frameworks look for now. I've also added height here, and that's everything. But there's one thing I'm going to have to add. Let me add some variable, and that's going to be a string variable. Okay, so I'm going to need 2 more of those there, and this one will be 2, variable number 1 and variable number 2, and this one I will just call this one answer. There we go. So let me just run it for you guys to see how it looks for now. Let's see, there we go, that's it. It's not that, okay, it's just coming up anyway. So let's add the text and actually label widget and the entry widget. So I'm going to copy this. Alright, I now have my label widget there, and inside it I have num1, so I might as well just call it number1. Okay, and if I run it now, you will also see this of the text box. So let's run it and you guys see what I'm talking about. See, it's coming up. There we go. Okay, I may have to sort of like reduce this. Let's make it about 30 and just run it one more time. Okay, maybe add a little bit to it, maybe about 31. Yeah, and let's just copy it and use that for number 2, and that will be 2. And in the case of 2, so if this is row 0, this will be row number 1, 1 and 1, and change this to 2. Same thing for the other ones. Let's copy and paste. There we go. And the text, and this will be 2. Right, so let's copy it again, and just this one will be for the answer. Come right down here, change this one to answer, and we can then speed it all up again. Well, we'll run it first and see. So that's label, and this is the entry widget, and this one will be row number 2 and 2 here as well. Okay, let's run it and see how it's going to look like now. There we go. Okay, so what I'm now going to do is to add buttons here and change this name around and move this one up. But there's something missing here. Let's see what's that missing. If this is 0 0 1 1, and here what is missing? Okay, all of these variables need changing. This will be 2, and the other one is just the answer. Right there. Okay, let's run it again. See, there we go. And this one, I would like to just change this. I don't want the end user to be able to enter anything here. So let's come in here and just say state equals disable. So the state there will be disabled. Let's see, you see that? You cannot enter anything there anymore. Alright, that's fine. Close that. Now the next thing is for us to add buttons here. Okay. Alright, right underneath here I now have my buttons. There are 3 in total. So I call this one, that's the very first button, I call it validate. Okay, maybe let's change the name to validate anyway instead of proceed. Right, then I have reset there. Okay, I have reset button. Let's move it up so that you can see it, and exit. So if I run it now, and if you, as you can see, all of these buttons are actually inside the frame reset button. Okay, so if I run it now, this is what you will see. There we go, guys. That is how they all look like. Nothing is happening though. Okay, the first function I'd like to take care of, but first thing, let's just break this apart so that you guys don't get confused. Here I have buttons. Okay, those are my buttons. Right, let's copy that, and here I have widgets, label, and entry. Let's just enter the names there, and here widget entry, and here is just buttons. Right, up here I have my frames. There we go, and variables here. Now we then need functions to get things moving. Right, okay, now look at the code, take it from the top here. Okay, and that's the class. Bring it down, we have frames. After the frames we have variables, and after the variables we have labels and widgets. Labels and entry widgets. Okay, and after that we have our buttons. Now let's take care of the functions. Okay, the first function that I'm going to take care of would be the reset. Let me just come down here. Right, the first function is going to be my reset. I'm just going to call that reset there. And what am I resetting? I'm actually resetting all of these variables, these very ones. Okay, I'm going to copy it all and just paste it right underneath here, and just change it around, and change this one to dot set. That means I'm clearing the content, and I'll repeat the same thing for these ones as well. And that is how you clear the content you have in your data. Okay, and let's ask it to return. There we go. Now the next thing is, let's take care of the exit. So I'm going to come down here. Let's say I exit. Yeah, and I exit itself equals Tkinter dot message box, and dot. I'm going to ask yes or no. Ask yes or no. There. And right in there, I'm going to just say the title is validate entry widget. And close that. Comma. Just enter. Confirm if you want to exit. There. And close that as well. Let's use an if statement now. If I exit is greater than 0, enter a comma, and I ask it to just destroy. Destroy. Right. And return. There. So two functions taken care of. I'm just going to copy this. Let's call this with a command here, and right here we just enter, or maybe I just say command equals reset, comma, and the other one is going to be command equals exit. That is the exit, and just change this to I exit. There. So two functions taken care of. So let's run it and see how that's going to look like. There we go. Let's enter some data in there. Reset is fine. What about exit? Nope. Yes, that is cool. Now, the last one. This is the important one. I'm going to be using this one for validation. I'll just say number only. Okay, in the case of number only, I'll say item. Let's say item 1 equals this very number. That's going to be dot get. Paste that in there and change this to get. Get rid of this. Close that bracket. That's for the very first one. Copy. I'm going to change this to number 2. Item 2. Because you can see it's just local variable declared in there, 1 and 2, and we need to get this indented really. Okay, now the next one is going to be for the answer. I'll call that. Okay, let's first of all let's use an if statement first. Let's say if item 1 dot is digit, okay, or item 2 dot is digit. This is where I check the data that we have inside those text box if they are valid or not. You see, item 1, that is for the text box 1 right here, and item 2. So I'm now checking to see if the data inside our numbers are of numeric value. Okay, now if they are that, then I just want item 3 equals, I'm going to use integer item 1 plus item 2. There. Changes to integer. Right, and we now need to set everything inside the answer. I'll come right down here. Answer equals item 3. Okay, well, the main focus is how to validate. That's the main focus, and that is this. Okay, so all this other one is just to kind of like jazz it up a little bit more. So I'm going to copy this now. Let's say Tkinter message box. Let's give me some message just to jazz it up a little bit more. This time around I'm going to say show. Let's say dot. Let's go for show information. There we go. right there. Show information. And what information do we want to show? I'll ask it. Let's go for correct data. Right. And message to the end user. Well done, bro. Right, that's the message to the end user. And let's say return equals true. Equals true. There. Alright. Else. What do we want the system to do? Else, I want you to give me a message. I'm going to copy this very message box. I'll just copy everything in here. Paste that in there. And the message in this case, let this one be .show warning. That's the warning right there. This very one, yeah. And in here, let's say wrong data. Wrong data, invalid. Wrong data, and that'll be invalid. Let's say invalid data. Invalid data number. Invalid data numbers. Okay, numbers only. Yeah, numbers only. Numbers only. Numbers only, bruv. Yeah, bruv. Okay. Now let's come down here. Let's erase all of those, whatever is got in there. Just clear it all up. Copy that, paste that in there. So if there's any data in there already, just clear it out. And this one, return is going to be false. There. That is my second function taken care of. Oh, we need a column here. And here we have column already, and that's it. So let's copy this and just enter that for the validate button. Validate button, that'll be command equals that, comma. Okay, let's run it and see, guys. Run. There. So first of all, we enter invalid data in there. Look at that, invalid data. Enter invalid data numbers only, bro. There. And let's enter correct data. There we go. There. And that is how you validate your entering widget, guys. So with that, I'm going to call it the end of this tutorial. I suppose you guys enjoyed. You all have a nice day now.